Yo, what's up guys? So before I start the video, I just want to say this is going to be a new series I'm starting called Break It Down, where I kind of break down my thoughts in the game in hopes that you guys can emulate exactly what I'm doing. So here we go. So we're going to jump right into this. This episode, I laned against Jin Karma, which is a poke lane. And I get a lot of questions often like, oh, what should I do into poke? I know Karma is a specific champion. There are other poke champions that are harder, like Xerath and Lux, but I'll also do videos on that in the future if I get them on my credits. So, at the start of lane phase, one thing you can notice is that I'm gonna start W, because especially against Karma, her level 1, her mantra Q, it has almost the same cooldown as your W, rank 1. So I start that to avoid getting poked out. My whole goal here in this lane phase is just to avoid getting poked out as much as possible, farm, and wait for when we can engage. The whole thing with Samira, and a lot of problems I find with Samira players, is they try to do things too early. Like, they try to like poke level 1, or they'll try to take like auto trades. We don't want those things. As a Samira player, like, we want all-ins. If we're not really getting all-ins, we're usually losing the trade. Like, so I want to just wait until I can find an all-in with my support. And if I can't find it all in, then I just farm. I find that a lot of Samira players, I get this a lot, especially from the really low Samira players, they're like, well, I feel like every time if I just don't snowball, I'm losing. And it's like, that's not true. Like, you don't have to play like that. Like, Samira's scalings are perfectly fine. The whole problem with Samira is that she has low range. It's not that her scaling or late game damage is bad. You can see whenever Jin is 4-shotting or Karma's trying to mantra Q to poke me down, I just W. And when I don't have W, I'm backing up. So as you can see here, like, Karma has to walk way far into my wave to actually even land anything on me, how far back I'm sitting. And whenever she walks into my wave and tries to walk into me, my Renata and I both punish her at the same time. And that's really key to trying to win a short trade, is that, like, we're essentially trading against her 2v1 if she ever walks into the wave and walks close to us. So that's why whenever she walks up, I'm walking as far back as possible to force her into my wave and force her into a 2v1 with me and my support. Because while she's trying to poke aggressively, Jin is just going to be farming. It essentially turns it into a 2v1. And they'll never win a trade like that. So, in this lane, I'm perfectly fine with just farming it out. Jin, one, he doesn't really scale. Some lanes you can't get away with that, because like, you'll get hard outscaled and lose. So like, against champs like Bane, Ogma, Derry, like, these champs are gonna hard outscale you because they have extremely long range, 1. And 2, most of them have like some type of late game scaling, like Bane with her W true damage or Kog'Maw with his W percent health damage. So like, late game, you're not going to be able to get to each other. They'll have lower cooldowns than mobility, and they'll have higher range. Like, you have to kill them in lane. And for those lanes, I can understand if you're trying to like Hail Mary it, at a certain point you have to go in on them and kill them. However, in some lanes, I'm like perfectly fine just farming it out and waiting for a good opportunity that presents itself. And this is like one of those lanes because these guys don't really scale that hard. I don't have to force anything to happen. Our team fight is like really good, so I'm not even worried about the late game, honestly. The one thing that I need to work, I don't really need to watch out for ganks, really, because I'm playing against a Nocturne. And Nocturne in the gate to 6. He's not really a threat 3-6 gank. So it's always good to keep in mind like what jungler you're playing against, because like they'll gank differently, you know what I'm saying? So like, if I'm playing against an Evelyn and she's level 6, like, I'm not going to ward the bushes because it's going to be useless. I'm going to buy a control ward, as an example. It's really good to keep in mind what you're playing against, because it will change the scenario. Against Nunu, for example, you want a deep ward, because if you just ward your bush, Nunu's going to roll past that and kill you. You have to ward deeper and know where it's coming from ahead of time, as an example. That's why I'm letting the wave push here, because Nocturne was here, and I want to back off a little bit. And then I see him topside, so I'm like, okay, we're safe here. Wait a bit. For some reason, Renata pushed the Karma away. I wanted to try to kill her there, but I didn't get there. But Let me just go back to farming. I'm gonna keep this recording up until we get the kill, because we don't get the kill early lane phase. I believe we don't get the kill. Line comes. By the way, playing with your jungler is key, and setting up waves for your jungler is key. You'll see that when the talent comes and kills the Jhin. Like, I have my wave in a perfect position for when he comes to gank, because I see him running to bot side. Use it ahead of time. I get a lot of questions like, what do you think of our refillable pot? And you can get away with a refillable potion, but I like going to 3 potions because it's more HP. And if I get a kill in the early lane phase while buying those 3 pots, then I usually don't need pots for the rest of the lane phase, so I'll be ahead. That's usually my thought with that. So I end up staying because I don't want to miss XP and gold. These guys are just perma pushing. And I'm fine with them perma pushing like this because they're low on mana and they're the poke champ. They're the ones with the pressure, not me. So if they just want to push instead of like trying to poke, then I'm perfectly fine with that. And I'll settle with that. Nautilus lanes are a little bit different though. Like if I had something like a Nautilus is generally what you play into Karma. If I had Nautilus, like Karma would have to be forced back. Not to force back that much. Skip a little bit. Walking back. Right. Karma roams. So, one thing to note, since the Karma roamed here and isn't back in bot right now, I can just hold a freeze in my lane. And Jhin can't walk up. See, this wave is frozen? I know it's frozen because I have significantly more minions than them. I just have to thin the wave a bit so it doesn't push too hard. And it stays right outside my tower like this. And this is perfect for me because I want to look for it all in. And I don't want to look for an all in close to their turret. So now, since I've set up the wave like this, it creates an opportunity for a kill. And you'll see how we get the kill. Nada pings, talent pings, I have the wave frozen still. And boom. And the whole reason we can even look for this kill is because I set up the wave properly like that. I saw my talent was on bot side, and I saw that the Karma was leaving, so I was able to hold that freeze. And then eventually kill the bot lane. So the main things to note about playing against, specifically against Karma, is starting W is really good because of bot Q. Against poke champs or poke bot lane, try to sit as far back as possible and force them to come to you so you can take a more efficient trade. And 3, setting up your waves. You know your jungler is coming, and you see the wave coming to you, and you have an opportunity to freeze. You should definitely take that and force them to walk up so that you can get an opportunity to kill.